Hello and welcome to the short Vort on Parshas Behaaloscha. We've got a lot to cover in Shishi, a couple of exciting points and a couple of great Divrei Torah, but we're going to have to give abbreviated versions just because there's a lot of stuff to cover. So in Shishi, which starts in Parak Yud, Pasuk Lamed Dal Lamed Hey, has the famous double nuns that are upside down that bracket the Parsha of Vahi ben Soa, well known for before Kriyas Torah that we use Vahi ben Soa Aron. And the Gemara in Shabbos on Kuftes Zayin talks about why the nuns with the brackets here, and this is based on from the Sefer Talelei Oros with Reb Yosef Zichron Stern and Zecher Yehosef being the one who says this Divrei Torah. So the Gemara brings down that Rabbi Yosef says that this parsha of in between the two nuns, which is only two psukim at all, is one of according to Shita 7 Sifrei Torah that there are. We know about Bereishis, Shmos, Vayikra, Dvarim, but there's also Bamidbar before the double nuns and a Bamidbar after double nuns and between the double nuns. That's 4 plus 3, so it's 7, and that's according to Shmuel Bar Nachmani in the name of Rabbi Yonasan. So that's according to Rabbi Yossi. However, he argues, or has a difference of opinion with Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says that this parsha is in the wrong place. It's really supposed to be somewhere beforehand about their traveling. Actually, it's supposed to be 50 parshios, meaning between every pei or samach, so there's an interruption, a gap in the Torah, whether it's a few words or letters or to the end of the line, and 50 of those types of parshios going back, that actually would be the proper place for Vayibi and Sarah to go, because it's talking about the traveling over there. But anyhow, he says the reason why it's put here instead of in the proper spot, or what we think should be the proper spot, is to tell us that we want to interrupt between two different poronios, where two different situations where the Bnei Yisrael did something wrong. First is after Hamatan Torah, Vayisu Me'ahar, they fled the mountain like children leaving school after the bell. They just wanted to get away from the Torah and the responsibility there. And then we have the misonanim, that they were the complainers. And to interrupt those two bad things about the Jews, we put in a separate parsha. However, the Ramban says there's actually three different Puranios here. We didn't mention that right afterwards, the misonanim that follows that with the Ha'asafsav, the gathering, it's actually I believe the Erev Rav, and they complained, they desired to have more pleasures. They wanted meat like they had in Egypt, and the fish that became bechinam, as well as garlic and onions, and they're complaining this mun, it just doesn't do it for us. They wanted it, they were complaining. So it actually was three different bad situations for the Jews, and so 3 in a row would be a chazaka. We wouldn't want it to be considered the Jews were a chazaka, and therefore there's an interruption between them so that you don't have 3 in a row. However, according to Rebbe, a chazaka only needs 2 in a row, and then you're still going to have number 2 and number 3. That's 2 that are in a row. So if the reason is because of Peranios, then we still have a problem. So that's why, if we remember what we said, Rebbe doesn't say that the reason is like Rebbe Shimon ben Gamliel, that it's because of to separate between Peranios, but because there's actually to tell us about the 7 different parshios that the Sifrei Moshe, the Torah, is broken up into. But according to Rebbe Shimon ben Gamliel, so it fits that you need 3 for a chazaka, and you only have 2 at a time that are Peranios. Now, if we continue with the topic of, I mentioned the Asafsav that was complaining that they desired desire. It's going to tell us something I think fascinating about the Mun and the Jews of the Dordeya. Now that Dordeya, it's actually in a way it was almost impossible to have Bechira Chavshis, to have free choice, because if the Bnei Yisrael did something wrong, the Egel, boom, there was a Magefa. Korach, the earth swallowed them up. Whatever they did wrong with the community, there was an immediate punishment. And when you do something wrong and there's immediate punishment, the logical thing is you're not going to sin anymore. However, not everyone is perfect, and even with those examples, they still have desires. But the Mun actually takes this level of examination another step to each individual person. Every day, your man is meted out in three different ways. If you look at the Pesukim, we don't have time to go into it, but basically there's three different levels. There's the first level for tzaddik, that the food is delivered to his house, home delivery, fresh, direct. If you're a Beinoni, or you did some minor sin, then you have to go out into the field a little more. And if you were a Rasha, you'd have to go deep, far away and spend a lot of time to gather the mun. And also the processing it. If you were righteous, then it would taste like whatever you wanted. If you were less so and you had sinned, then you might have to process it a little bit. And if you were a big sinner, you'd even process it more. You'd grind it up and make it into whatever you had to do is more effort. So it was testing you. If one day you were good, then you'd get it at home. And if you were bad, you get it far away. So that was pretty embarrassing for people who sinned, because, well, if you're going far away to get the mun, like, you were bad last night. So the Asafsuf, they were very upset about that, and they wanted to find a way how to get out of it, which is why, what were they complaining about? We want food, so like that's not so bad. But Moshe and HaKadosh Baruch Hu both got very upset. It says that in the Pesukim. It says, Vayichar or something like that. Vayichar af Hashem ma'od b'nei Moshe ra. That was bad. And the reason why it was bad to them, because they saw that there was a ruse going on, that they wanted the Asafsuf wanted to have an excuse to buy meat from the neighboring nations, so that they would be able to not only get the meat, but they'd also be able to get the flour and stuff, so they wouldn't have to grind up the mun, and people wouldn't know right away that they sin. All right, we eat muns once, twice a week, and you see, okay, I occasionally sin, but the rest of the days, hey, I didn't have to go far out schlepping. It must be that I'm a good guy, and that's one of the reasons why it says we remember the fish that was bechinam, it was for free. Was it really for free? The Egyptians didn't give you for free. They wouldn't even give you straw to do your work. What do you mean they're going to give you free fish? But it's chinam from the responsibility to Hashem, chinam from mitzvos. And that's what they were complaining about, and they wanted to get out. It wasn't because they wanted the meat itself, but they wanted to be free from the responsibility to do well, and that's why Kadosh Baruch Hu and Moshe got upset at them. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you listened. Share it, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful Shabbos, and we'll see you, God willing, next week for Shalach.